Hello, parents. My name is Andrew Garrett, and if you're watching this video, I probably have your son or daughter in my algebra class right now. Thank you for watching this video. It'd be great if we could meet face to face and everything, and hopefully maybe someday we'll get the chance to do that, but I guess for now, this is the next best thing. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And as I said, if you're watching this, I have your son or daughter in algebra class right now. So the class that I'm teaching is 103A. So it's our Algebra A, Algebra 1A. So if you're not familiar with how things work there with our algebra courses like that, if your son or daughter is taking Algebra 1A, then they will take 1B probably next semester. So basically what we've done is we've kind of taken the Algebra 1 course and all the curriculum that goes with that, all the curriculum that's on the state-mandated Keystone exam, and we split it up into 2 semesters so that way they have more time to learn concepts, practice concepts, develop a deeper understanding and things like that, and then hopefully do really well on the Keystone exam. So this is a Keystone course, but they don't take the Keystone exam at the end of this semester. So all of the work and everything that we're preparing for, though, this semester does have that goal in mind. So again, everything we're doing is because it's something that is part of the curriculum and goes with the Keystone exam. So we're trying to help, and that's an exam that the state kind of determined are like the basic foundational concepts of algebra that all students in the state should be learning. So that's the purpose there. So and you'll hear more about that exam as they get into the next part of the Algebra 1 course, and also in your other classes. They take that exam in biology and in English, in literature. I believe it's literature as well. So yeah, so if you haven't already, you'll hear more about that later. But yeah, so let's take a closer look at this class in particular. And we could start by doing some of the first day syllabus stuff that I went over with your kids here. So let's take a look at that. All right, so these documents are posted on Schoology, and I'll talk about Schoology here in a second. That'll actually probably be the most important thing that I get a chance to talk to you about here in this video. But just for crossing our T's and dotting our I's here. This was the stuff that I went over with your kids on the first day of school here, just the basics about the course. Like I said, everything we're covering in this class is basically been determined to be like the foundational aspects of algebra. And these are things that will be tested in the Keystone exam. So this document here is a little bit more of like a formal syllabus that is posted on Schoology, but I think this next one here, I went over this more specifically with your kids here, and I'm not going to bore you with all the the details here because again you can look this up on Schoology under your kids' account and read it in more detail and take more time, and also feel free to email me at any point and with any questions that you might have throughout the semester if you haven't done so already. Some things that I'll point out is, I'll talk about Schoology here in a second, but with Schoology and the technology that is accessible to these kids, like it really makes it easy for them to stay on top of things when they miss school. And I've tried to make that the case. It also really makes it so that there's a lot of additional resources available to them, and I'll point that out in a second here. But I do try to treat these kids as young adults. We're trying to raise them to be responsible individuals. So I do try to stress that if they're going to miss school, they should let me know ahead of time if that's possible. If that's not possible, then there are some things that they can do as far as checking Schoology to to minimize the amount that they miss. But then also when they return, I'll be willing to work with them and everything too. I have in here about how if they don't make something up in a reasonable amount of time, I'll put a 0 in on PowerSchool. Just so you know, as a parent, this is another really great thing for you to know and you to hear. Anything that is a 0 on Schoology does not have to stay a 0. If it's a test or a quiz and it's a 0, that's because it's been too long. I need to put a grade in there. But when they make it up, they'll get full credit. If it's a homework or a classwork assignment and they haven't done it in a reasonable amount of time, they'll get a 0. But when they do it, they'll still get points back. They'll lose some points for it being late, but they can still earn points back, and any points are better than no points. So please, if you see a 0 on PowerSchool, do not assume that it has to remain that way. It's just a 0 because that's the grade they earned at that point, but they can earn more points if back on that assignment if they choose to turn it in late or improve it or whatever. Calculators are great. Like I have calculators in class here, but I would recommend if most of these kids are 9th or 10th graders, so they have a lot of school left. A calculator is not a bad idea to invest into, and you don't need to purchase a really fancy one unless you do think that if your kid's going to go to college, then a graphing calculator would be a pretty good investment. The technology with the graphing calculators doesn't kind of expire the way cell phones and laptops do. Like if they get a good calculator now, it'll last them through college. Here would be the other probably really important thing as a parent for you to know. Here's where the grade comes from. So 60% of their grade is coming from tests and quizzes. And this is a little outdated, this one here. Maybe I clicked on the wrong one. But everything else is 40%. So it's actually just one other category where everything else is 40%. So that means 60% of their grade comes from tests and quizzes. That's the largest percentage, which would make sense. But it's not a ridiculously high percentage. It's only 60%. 40% of the course of the marking period grade is coming from things that they're doing in class or for homework or whatever. And those things, there's almost always some sort of effort component to those grades. So that should be something that helps boost their grade. And that's not always the case. A lot of times if it's not the case, it's due to not turning in things or a lack of effort. But that's something that should be a pretty good grade and should help boost their overall grade. Okay, so some of that stuff's a little outdated there too. But that takes care of just some of the the syllabus, the traditional first day stuff. Let's look at Schoology now. So our Schoology page, it's going to look a little different on their end. My end has things that I've published and also not published yet. So the things that are grayed out wouldn't show up on your son or daughters. And I was going to show you a student, the way it would look like for a student, but I'd have to pick somebody in class, and then it would show you what they've done or not done, and I don't want to blow up anybody's spot like that. So, so the things that I would point out to you would be, first, the calendar here. So if your son or daughter is ever absent, they can always check the calendar and see what they missed that day. Now, as you can see, I don't have the whole semester filled in here, but I try to do at least a week out. Today is the 18th, so I have the rest of this week, and I'll at some point this week I'll try to add in next week. So I try to be at least a week out. But you can see, like today we're doing Chapter 1 review. Chapter 3 review, day 1. So if they're at home right now, they could go to Chapter 3. They could go to the Chapter 3 review. And then we would be, whoops, I clicked on the wrong thing here. So the Chapter 3 review. And then we'd be in day 1, which is the only thing that would show up. This would be grayed out. They wouldn't be able to see it. But these would be the handouts and things that we're doing in class today. If we're doing something that involves instruction, so like we're learning something new, like I'm just picking a random lesson here. If we'd be doing 3.2, they could click on a video here, and they would actually see a lesson here. So they can actually watch a video lesson from home. This serves a couple purposes. It's great if they miss school, because then they can see what they missed, they can learn the lesson. But it's also really good if they just need more instruction for what we learned that day. They can go home and watch the same lesson we just learned that day in class, watch it over again, rewind things, slow things down, take notes on things, whatever. As a parent, if you want to help your kid with a homework assignment, you could watch this. So, I know it's not going to replace everything, but at least would help you catch up on anything that we did in school that day. So those would be okay. So that would be what I would really, really want you to know as a parent about what they have access to at home, as far as, being able to stay on top of things either when they miss school or as additional resources when they miss school too. Here's another thing while I'm thinking of it. So I have a lot of, we were just in this one here, these check for understanding. Sometimes they're required. Sometimes I grade those. They're practice problems, and then the intent is when they're done with the practice problems, there are solution videos for the problems that they just attempted. So say they got question 4 wrong, they could go on here then and watch some sort of video on it. A linear. I won't bore you with that, but you see this is 20 seconds long. So the videos are usually around like a minute or something. They're not ridiculously long, but they could watch the video then of a question they got wrong and then learn how it should have been done or hopefully fix any mistakes. Again, if you have any other questions about Schoology, feel free to email me, but it's a great tool for them, and there's a lot of resources on here and ways to help them make up for missing time or have additional supplemental resources. All right, so I think that concludes just the basic information that I wanted to relay to you guys. So again, thank you for watching. I hope the information that I provided has been helpful. If it has prompted any questions or anything you want to talk about, feel free to email me. You can go to the school's website to find my email address, or it's just Garrett@cocalico.org. And I hope you've been hearing good stories about how the semester's been going at home. I've enjoyed my classes so far. I think I have great classes, so hopefully you've been hearing good things. And I look forward to a great rest of the semester. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.